Are you teaching your kids the principles of financial independence? Or do you wish your parents had taught those to you? There is a massive difference between what the typical or poor dad teaches his kids versus what the rich dad teaches their kids about money. But don't worry if you don't consider yourself wealthy just yet. Here's a little secret. You don't need to be affluent to teach your kids about money. So how much of this knowledge about financial independence are you passing on to your children? And if not, then why not? In this video, you will learn techniques that can help your kids or yourself become financially independent, even at an early age. Sounds terrific, right? Okay, let's dive in. And please, hit the like and subscribe buttons and make sure your notifications are turned on so you don't miss any of our future content. What school doesn't teach. Going to school instills the value of a hard day's work in people. The foundation of our educational system is the idea that it should produce workers who may be employed in businesses or other types of organizations. Because of their fears, most people absorb the information without challenging or questioning it. However, we can see how this system has failed many and prevented them from obtaining their true potential. So why pass this same knowledge to your kids if you don't want them to make the same mistakes that you did? Now, let's talk about the principles and techniques you can teach your kids to help them gain financial independence, even from a young age. Teach them how to solve problems. Expert financiers realize that cash is generated by developing solutions and new concepts. Most people spend their time moaning about how bad things are, whereas children of the wealthy are taught to look for ways to improve situations, then make everyone pay for the solutions they create. To begin, list the top 10 issues you're facing right now. The next step is to come up with 10 answers to each problem. You can probably turn each of your issues into a source of income or the basis for a new venture if you put some thought into it. Producing goods and services that address a need in the market is a tried and true method of making money in any economy and may also be used as a teaching tool. No issue is too big or too small for anyone's aid. Make your money work for you. Robert T. Kiyosaki's seminal book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, emphasizes the importance of a wealthy person's perspective on connection between labor and financial reward. If a poor dad has to work for his income, a rich dad is able to put his wealth to work for him. Most people are taught that success in life requires an academic degree, securing a high-paying job, and dedicating one's life to it. They will be offered opportunities to advance in the company and earn higher salaries over time if they are committed to their work and put in the effort required to succeed. However, if you Google the richest people in the world, you get results like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett. And none of them have followed this traditional model. Don't get us wrong, having a high-paying job is an excellent way to amass wealth. But it has its limits since there's only so much time you can spend exchanging for cash. Gaining and maintaining financial security ultimately comes down to investing one's existing capital wisely to generate a steady income stream. You have to find ways to let money work for you to make you more money. Or you have to find ways to decouple the value generation for the paying customer from your own time. Learning this principle for oneself is challenging, much less teaching it to the next generation. But once you get into this frame of mind, doors start to open. For instance, if you no longer rely heavily on a job's paycheck, you have more leeway to pursue meaningful work on your own terms. You will have laid the groundwork for the wealth that future generations will inherit once your offspring are able to convey this knowledge to the next generation. Talking about working for you, please consider clicking the like button for this video and subscribing to our channel, because this motivates us to keep working for you. Spend less than you earn. Learning to live on less money than one brings in is essential to establishing a stable financial future for oneself. Children need to realize at a young age that spending money as soon as they obtain it will put them in a precarious financial situation in the future. Instead, teach them how to be frugal and save money. It is not enough to just put money in a jar and forget about it or bury it in the backyard to save money. Teach your children that when saving money, they should think about both short-term and long-term investment goals for the money that they will be saving. For the short term, there might be some liquidity needs one has to plan for, in which case we recommend considering a high-yield savings account. For the long term, it is recommended to invest in cash flow positive assets, as described in the next section. Of course, there should also be some room to spend the hard-earned money to live a little, but this should be in a reasonable ratio relative to the regular income. For these expenses, it is recommended to preferably invest in exciting experiences rather than material objects, because the joy experiences brings will last much longer than the short rush of buying a new shiny thing. The majority of children have a difficult time grasping the concept of developing a habit of delaying spending their money. Well, we humans in general aren't particularly great at putting off gratification until a later time. However, as parents, you can make the practice of budgeting and saving money more enjoyable for your children. You can do this by simply assigning different colors to the jars in which they place their savings, or by offering them to match their savings dollar for dollar. When kids get into the routine of planning their use of money, i.e. budgeting, and always setting aside a portion of every money they get, it develops a beneficial habit from a young age that they keep with them for the rest of their lives. Maximize your assets and limit your liabilities. This is yet another valuable takeaway from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Educate your kids that an asset is anything that can put money into their pockets, such as a business they own, a property they rent out, or stocks that they trade. On the other hand, liabilities require you to pay money out of your own pocket. Your children are responsible for understanding the distinction and how it affects them personally. Things like rent, weekly shopping, travel expenses, holiday expenses, and mortgages all fall under the category of liabilities. You can't get away from having any liabilities, but if you're good at managing your assets, you won't have to worry about those liabilities nearly as much. The process of building an investment portfolio is analogous to planting plants. You invest them while they are small, and you care for them until they grow large enough to support themselves and produce fruit on their own. People who can retire at a younger age can do so because they have accumulated sufficient wealth that maintains them for the rest of their lives. For creating generational wealth, those assets should generate enough passive income to pay for expenses while never running out, and ideally, growing automatically and following the principles described before. However, it is simple to take on liabilities, particularly when those things are shiny objects like new televisions, fancy clothes, or new cars. This case is especially true for the house you live in yourself. Besides property taxes, you'll also have to pay for maintenance and repairs as the house ages, making it a liability for you. On the other hand, any real estate you own can potentially be turned into a money-generating asset. For example, by renting it out or by improving it through renovation and then selling it for a higher price than you purchased it. To build their wealth, your children need to learn these fundamental ideas. The sooner your children learn how to A. invest their money in assets while B. minimizing their liabilities at a younger age, the more time their assets will have to grow and generate compounded interest. A simple way to teach these principles is by playing Monopoly with them until it clicks for them and they get the idea. Hang out with influential people. The children of wealthy fathers often benefit from their exposure to and interactions with other powerful individuals. They provide their children with the opportunity to engage in conversation with other rich and upbeat individuals, which may affect how their children think about the world and the possibilities available to them in it. Suppose you can't afford that approach, or you don't know the right people yet. In that case, you can still teach your kid about innovative thinkers by watching interviews with successful entrepreneurs and investors with them on YouTube, or by watching episodes of Shark Tank and talking about how those entrepreneurs are changing the world. You can also read influential books on money and wealth together and discuss the contents together. Optimism and hard work seem to rub off on others. Your kid's aspirations and outlook on work, money, and life can be profoundly affected by the company he, she, or they keep. Financial literacy. The saying goes, "A fool and his money will soon part." It's not hard to hear about people who suddenly find themselves with a fortune only to lose it all in 1 year. If you want to protect your children from being taken advantage of by their wealth, you must teach them how to handle money responsibly from a young age. The first step is to educate them about the concept of money and show them how to live within their means. Teaching your kids about money will help them understand the interplay between earning, saving, and spending. Instead of having money rule them, they will learn the value of money, how not to lose it, how to make it work for them, and how to handle it well. The basics of family finances. Make sure that money is not taboo within your household. When your children are old enough to grasp concepts like monthly payments, you should demonstrate how you handle your own finances by showing them how you do it, suggests Trent Ham of The Simple Dollar. He recommends beginning with bills that directly affect young people, such as the internet or cell phone bills, as supported by an article for U.S. News and World Report. Let them see the bills and explain why that amount must be paid every month, or if and how it could be reduced. As a result, you can show your kids how you manage the money your family earns. The majority of us were taught that talking about money with our kids was taboo. Yet, by not having these conversations, parents are denying their kids a valuable opportunity to develop lifelong skills. Although one should remain cautious talking about money with people outside the close family or trusted peers to avoid putting a target on your back. Invest in skills, not entertainment. The wealthy value their time and wealth as an asset that can be put to good use. While most people look for ways to pass, or even kill, the time, the rich seek out opportunities to engage in learning new skills and experiencing new things. Such activities provide far more satisfaction and positive long-term impact than, say, binge watching an entire season of a show on Netflix or getting drunk on the weekend. In all, if you want your children to succeed in life, instill in them a love of learning and a commitment to improving their own abilities and value to the world, as well as managing their money well. And let us know in the comments which other video topics you'd like us to cover. Also, consider rewatching this video to ensure you caught all the tips. If you liked this video, subscribe and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.